Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we have a bright day here in the Netherlands, so I thought we could film another video. And what else should I film with than with my new Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Flushed Blush. I decided to just get one, try one. This is actually my first time trying Danessa Myricks, so I decided to pick up the shade Jubilee because after seeing a couple of other videos, yes, I did see a couple of other videos, I just wanted to get an idea of whether this product would work for me. I usually like a little bit lighter, very glowy blushes, or at least sort of more satin blushes. But after seeing the review by Mariam Maquillage here on YouTube, she had all 6 shades in PR and they all looked fabulous on her. She has a more medium skin tone, but it looked like they could really sheer out or build up depending on your skin tone. So I decided to try at least one. I had a hard time picking out the shade because, well, while all of them would sheer out to work for me, they also all looked a little bit red or a little bit orange, apart from one. But I did decide to pick Jubilee, so let's see if that one works. And since this was my first time trying Danessa Myricks, they recently became available on Boozy Shop. That's why I never tried them before. I also decided to pick up one of her blurring balms in the shade 2. Her Yummy Skin Glow Serum, which I think is going to be amazing. Sort of like I'm using my Kruidvat primer oil, but a little bit less oily. And then they also had a huge sale, so I decided to pick up one of their color fixes in a very nice brownie shade, this one. So I thought we could do a full face of these products. I think I'll skip all the other steps, but let's see how this review is going. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you do like it, and let's get started. Immediately when this arrived, I thought the box was pretty big. So this is what the packaging looks like. I think it's really pretty. I think it's kind of heavy, not too heavy, but it feels weighted. And this chrome metal in this copper shade is really pretty. I think this little spatula is really cute. I'm not sure if I'll use it, but it looks adorable. Honestly, 100 points or 10 points. People say 10 points for packaging. So this is shade number 2, and I had a bit of a dilemma because shade number 1 would probably work better depth-wise, but then I do have a bit of a yellow undertone, so this one had a yellow undertone, and shade 1 looked a little bit more neutral, leaning pink, so I decided to go with this one. And I'm not really sure if this serum is supposed to be used beneath the blurring balm, but since I have it, I want to try it out. I also really like the packaging of this one. So this one is more meant for underneath my NARS foundation, for instance. If you know the story, well, it's not really a story, but if you know my spiel on the NARS foundation, I really like it, but I like it most combined with something of a hydrating, little bit glowy primer underneath, and I think this could be perfect. So let's see. This is what it looks like. It looks a little bit like lip gloss or something for in your shower. It looks a little bit gel-like. It feels nice. It has a weird scent. A bit of a spa-like scent. I've never been to a spa, but this is what I imagine. Sort of cucumbery. But it feels delicious. And I did put on a little bit of an eye cream right here and on top of my eyes because I guess I've been taking off my eye makeup a little bit too aggressively because recently I've been getting these little marks here and they feel very irritated. So I did put a little bit of cream on there, but nothing else. No moisturizer or anything. I wanted to see what this could do. And it feels really nice. It feels a little bit smoothing, but also very hydrating, and it did leave a nice sheen. I think this product is going to be really nice. I've started doing speed reviews now, so all of these things you will see again in a couple of weeks when I've tried them out properly. I'll also use them in other videos, of course. I'll use them in multiple ways, so just stay tuned for that. But so far, first impressions? Lovely. All right, let's get into the blurring balm. I'm just going to do things in order here. Yeah, I'm not going to use the little spatula. So I think this looks really nice. I do have a fresh, clean foundation brush. This is one from Boozy Shop. I got it as a freebie with my order at some point. They do really nice freebies with their orders. So this is their foundation brush. It's synthetic, but it's really dense. I think it's going to be perfect for this product. So I'm just going to take some on my brush. Immediately so happy with the shade. I know this is supposed to be more of a light coverage, sheer to medium if I'm not mistaken, but still I'm quite fair, so I was a little bit scared to pick the second lightest shade instead of the lightest one. But they did say, they had a little chart on their website, and they said that if you would usually have the lightest golden shade, which I think I would have, then you would have to pick shade 2. So I just trusted that. And I think this is a really interesting product. If you haven't seen any other reviews on it, it's been out for a couple of months, but basically you can use this as a primer, a foundation, or a setting powder. And even if you pick a lighter or deeper shade, you can use it as a concealer or a bronzer, just like any other foundation. And my purpose for this stuff was to use it as a, well, I guess I'm interested in using it as a powder. And I want to use it as a foundation, but I'm not really interested in using it as a primer. That's why I picked a colored shade. And this has Upsolite technology, which is supposed to be really good in not drying out the skin, but containing the oils that are produced by the skin during the day. My skin is mainly normal. I do get a little bit oily around my nose, top of my forehead. You know, if I'm wearing my foundation for a long time, especially in the summer, yeah, it'll get a bit oily, but nothing excessively annoying. I do like a bit of glow usually in my foundations, but I can appreciate a natural looking matte foundation as well. So this is what it's looking like. Of course, this is the side with and this is the side without. I was mainly curious whether this would cover my redness. I just worked out like half an hour ago, so yeah, my redness is a little bit heavier than usually, but I think it worked really well. I've been trying the green color corrector from Makeup Revolution, and I feel like it would, if I would combine the two products, that one and this balm, then it would be perfectly covered. I think the coverage is pretty light. I can still see, you know, the little spots, but I do like the fact that my skin is very evened out. Here on my chin you can see it really well. I like the way it looks, I like the way it feels. I can definitely see myself using this as a setting powder because I like my setting powders to be a little bit creamy. I usually use powder foundations because they're not as dry. So I think this could be perfect for that. Always a mark for me, or like a true test of coverage, is this little mark I have here. It's usually a little bit more visible, but yeah, you can definitely still see that, but that's okay. So far I like it. I'm not sure if you need the Yummy Skin serum underneath though. I think the glow that gave is pretty much covered up by this product. And I like applying it with a brush. I'm not sure what their recommended application method is. I can imagine it working well with a sponge as well, but I like brushes. Alright, so this is what it looks like applied over my whole face. I think it looks really nice. I do still see a little bit of radiance, but it looks natural. The only thing is, it doesn't blend out as seamlessly as I would expect this product to do. And I think it may be because of the serum that I put underneath, or the fact that I'm still, well, I'll admit it, slightly sweaty from working out. I did shower, but it takes a little while for me to actually cool down. So I'm having a little trouble with some brush strokes on top of my nose and around here. It looks fine, it's just that I'm noticing that it needs a little bit more help than some of my other foundations. And I also feel like the coverage on my nose is really low. So I'm going to see if I can build this up. Like, I really took quite a bit of product now. I feel like this should be a product you can build up very easily, since you can also use it as a powder. If you're curious about this product as a primer, I think that also works really well. I know Patty Alonso, she has dry skin, but she loves using this stuff as a primer. So just because I'm not really interested in that doesn't mean it's not going to work. Yeah, you see, it works, it builds, but it's a little bit tricky to get a seamless blend when you build it up. And I did, see, I put my nail over it, and I just don't think this is the prettiest when you build it up. I think if you want that redness on your nose to be gone, you'll just have to use something underneath, which is fine. Yeah, so far, I think this is a really good product. I'm very interested in using this as a powder. Maybe I'll do that even today. I think the color is a bit lighter than I was expecting, so it could work. Let me use a little bit of concealer. I'm using the ABH Magic Touch Concealer in the shade 1. Just a little bit over there. I think I'll also put a little bit here to mask all that redness. So I'm back. I blended out my concealer. I tried to add a little bit on my nose, and I don't know, the combination just wasn't flawless. I guess my nose just wants to be a little bit red today. It does look good underneath my eyes. Like I said, I used the Magic Touch Concealer from ABH. And then I also filled in my brows. So that's what you missed. Now let's get into the actual newness in today's video, which is this little cutie over here. I thought it was so cute that it was like the small version of the big one. And actually the size of this is decent. I mean, the other one is just quite big, but it's like their little baby. So this is in the shade Jubilee, as I've been saying, and it actually looks a little bit more rosy than I was expecting. I wasn't sure what to expect because the swatches from Danessa Myricks site herself were all very red. This one looked like a slightly less red version of that really red one. I'm not sure what the name was. And then they also had one more rosy shade, Rose and Brunch, or Rosé and Brunch. I'm not sure what the name was. But I thought I would have that shade already. I wanted to try something new, so I went with this one. This feels, I think it feels the same as the other one. I'm not sure if I touched that one yet. Yeah, they feel very similar, only I feel like the blush is more pigmented. So I'll swatch both of them. You can see this number 2 shade is really good for me. I'm so happy I went with my gut on that one. And I think they leave a similar kind of finish, so it's a little bit skin-like actually. It's nice. It smooths out as well. I think this is going to be a very blurring blush. So this is what it looks like blended out, and then it's definitely a little bit more orangey. You are supposed to be able to build this up really strongly, so yeah, I mean, you can get a very heavy blush look as well, so that's good. My question for today is, of course, does it work on very fair skin too? Because that's important for me. I think the answer is going to be yes. So what I like to use for any type of blush actually, but also cream blush, is a buffing brush. This is one from Real Techniques. It's a little bit softer, but it's nice. So I'm just going to take a little bit. I hope it's not too much. So I added quite a bit, I see. This is really nice. Look how much it blends out. I was hoping that would be the case. I also put a little bit on my nose usually. It leaves a really smooth finish. There's almost a sheen, but it's like the kind of sheen from very healthy skin. And because it's a little bit more blurring at the same time, I feel like it definitely gave that blurring balm underneath a little bit more smoothness and also a little bit more coverage. So whatever little gray spots I still had over here, I feel like they're obscured a little bit. I also love what it did to my nose. Of course, it is a more red tone blush, so it's going to disguise my own redness too. I'm just going over with that foundation brush around the edges. Wow, this is a really nice product. The only thing is, I wonder how much it would make a difference to get the other shades. especially if you blend them out like I did. Because I saw this rosé and brunch shade on a couple of people and it looked quite similar to this one. But I mean, I'm not above trying another shade if it's ever in my budget. Honestly, this looks really, really good. I was afraid that it would look a little bit too matte, but yeah, this looks really nice and it doesn't feel tacky. Honestly, the only thing that feels tacky over here is my concealer. Yeah, I'm very happy with this. So let's jump into something else. Let's try a little bit of color fix. Of course, these have been out for years, but I could never try them because, well, I guess I could order it from Beautylish, but I guess I never did. But now they had this shade on sale. They also had a beautiful, very deep gunmetal metallic. So this is in their foils range and this is in the shade Nightcap. And I think there's a duochrome in there. A little bit of green, maybe. It's going to take this much. Ooh, this looks very good. See, I wanted that gunmetal shade, but I was afraid it was a little bit too similar to my little Charlotte Tilbury one and done shadow. And since I plan on using this as a one and done, there was really no use in buying multiples. But this is awesome. It's a very slight multichrome, I think. So there's a green in there, an orange, a gold, a copper, but it's all very, it looks a little bit similar, but I like that. So let's see. I'm using a clean finger to tap out the edges. That's really pretty. I think on the eyes, the green isn't very visible. Maybe in other lighting. But I do really like this shade. So I still have some left on my hands. So let me try and build it up a little bit. Right here on the lid. It's already starting to dry down, which is good. It gave me enough time to blend, but not enough time that it'll crease, I hope. So that's not too heavy layers on my eyes. Yeah, that looks really good. I'm not sure if it's actually quite as easy as a single eyeshadow. I do really like those. I'm not much of a liquid eyeshadow girl, but I'm not above trying this one more, of course. I think it's a little bit distracting that I still have some leftover gray underneath my eyes. I didn't dare to scrub too much last night. So let me add something there. I have this very creamy eyeliner from Kruidvat, which is the Dutch drugstore that I often buy these kind of products from. It's in the shade 30 Bronze Charm, in case you are near where I live. And I'm just going to use this to add a little bit of dimension on the lower lash line. And I'll also add a little bit on the upper lash line as well. So I'm just going to take this brush, smudge it out a little bit, not too much. And then I'll also use a little bit of this gold eyeliner from Chanel to brighten up the waterline itself. So that would be what a full eye look would look like for me, of course with a little bit of mascara. So let me add that, let me add a little bit of bronzer and then we'll finish up with the lips. So I'm back again. I added a little bit of bronzer. This is my favorite, the big Chanel bronzer from last summer. I added a little bit of the cookie highlighter. I thought it needed it. And then I also put on my Dior Show Pump and Volume mascara in the shade brown, which is my favorite mascara, actually. Not necessarily my favorite color, but I do like this. And whenever I want nice brown lashes, this is what I'll use. So let's do a quick crease test. This is what the eyelids are looking like. I think it's decent. I have pretty hooded eyes. I have a very distinct crease that you can't even usually see, and I don't think it's settled in there. I also really like the way the highlight looks and the bronzer looks on top of that blurring balm, so that's good. And I wanted, as a final test, use this little blurring balm on my lips. So I'm using my Glam Light and Michaela lip liner in the rosy shade. So let's take a little bit of this. Okay, it's not a perfect match with the lip liner, but I think it gives a fun effect. This actually feels pretty comfortable on the lips as well. I've seen other people do this and say it as well, but I didn't really believe them because I thought for a more blushy matte formula, how could it possibly feel nice? But it's not like it feels moisturizing, but it does feel a little bit smoothing. It feels like it sort of has a positive effect on the dryness of my lips, even though it looks pretty matte. So I think that's pretty. So this is my final look. I wanted to do a quick comparison for those of you who are interested with two other cream blushes that I thought could be similar to this one. So I really wasn't sure about the shade, but one that I already love is this one from NYX in the shade Nude Dude. And I thought this formula could be a little bit similar because this is also a matte formula. This is their Sweet Cheeks Soft Cheek Tint Blush Mousse. And I really like this one. And then I also have this blush formula from Makeup Revolution, the Super Dewy. This is not dewy at all, so I thought it was still similar. Oh, I think this is a little old. And this is also a little bit moussey. And I don't think the colors are going to be super similar, but I still wanted to compare. So this is in the shade You Got Me Blushing. And then this is the Danessa Myricks. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't blend out this one. The shade is actually a lot more peachy than I was expecting. Let me build it up a little bit. Yeah, this one is definitely more berry. I expected that, but I thought this one was going to be similar, but it's really not. I think this one may be more similar to that rosé and brunch shade. So I think I picked a good one. I wanted something that was a little bit different than the ones that I had. And I also think formula-wise, it compares most to the NYX one in the way that they feel a little bit smooth and a little bit velvety. I think this Makeup Revolution one is more of a dries down and there it is kind of formula. I think these two have a bit more wiggle room. So in case you were interested, those were my two closest comparisons that I have. So overall, my final thoughts. I love the blush. I think the blush was the best thing that I tried today. I think this is going to be a favorite of mine. I'm curious to see how it works on all types of different foundations, and I think it's going to be beautiful. I do like the fact that it really blurred my pores. I didn't even get into that yet. I think it's just because I didn't really notice them, so I didn't talk about them. But lately I've been having some struggles with my pores, with some of my foundations. And this looks really nice and blurred, even the places that I put a lot of highlighter on. I especially love the way highlighter looks on the tip of my nose now. So I think that's to be attributed to the blush as well as the blurring balm. Only the blurring balm was a little bit tricky to blend out in some spots. Also, I feel like it sort of looks a little bit weird over here, but that could very well be because of this product. And this product I do really love. I love the way it feels. I actually also love the way it smells. And I think this is going to be a good one, just not combined with this foundation. So I'll keep you posted on all of those things. And then the color fix, I think it's really pretty. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about it. I'm curious about how much I'll use it, but it looks nice and glittery. And it has a nice subtle shift. So I think these are all really good products, and I'll keep you posted on how I'll end up using them and loving them. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was a little bit helpful for you, and I will see you in the next one.